All right. Well, thank you guys so much for logging on this week. This is our 8 weeks to better health, brought to you by Live Well Naturally, and I'm Sherry Sanchuli. When I decided to do these, I had been doing these little 15-minute coffee breaks since last March, and I had a goal of doing it for a year. And I was coming up to the end of my year, and I didn't want to just like kind of fade out. I wanted to end with on a high note. So I designed this course, 8 weeks to better health, has a guest speaker every week. And it's been a lot of fun. And then we record it so you can also find it on my YouTube channel, which is Live Well Naturally 123. So why am I sitting here in my little home hair salon talking to you guys with my dear friends and guest speaker today? Well, I've always been interested in feeling well. I've always been outdoorsy. The first picture is from a sailboat race down to Cabo. And I I it's not so much that I felt like I needed to do anything different because I was like in motion, but luckily I'm curious and open-minded. And so little by little, I've had some pretty significant events head me towards even better health. One was I got sober in 1988. That was a good start the way I drank. And then 2012, I got into yoga, which was just really life-changing for me. And then 2018, I found doTERRA. And I already, like I said, I already felt like I was well, but I slowly but surely started exchanging my chemical-laden products for plant-based products, using oils. I have some diffusing right now. And wouldn't you know, I was even better. I went 5 years without going to ER with my chronic asthma instead of the usual 12 to 15 months, 30 years before that. And I met people like Dr. Andrew, Dr. Jason, who will be on in a few weeks. Uh, we have now switched from a Western primary care physician to being our first go-to to a naturopathic doctor who's also going to be one of our guest speakers, Dr. Moira. And I continue to feel better. I actually have nodes right now, so I don't sound like I feel great, but I feel fantastic. So it makes all these moments sweeter. These are the humans and the souls that are closest to me, our puppy and our kids and our grandkid, but also my friends and family. I just want to show up and not have the brain fog, have vitality. And I want to be that old lady that's like jumping off the sailboat at 80 and people going, oh my gosh, how's she do it? Well, it starts today. So thank you for the intro. And then today we're going to talk about pain. I think most people experience pain to some degree, whether it's because they're like a weekend warrior, or maybe they have chronic pain, or they have done something out of their norm and then that caused them some pain. I Dr. Andrew can speak more to this because he's much more qualified about when do you quit, trying to handle it yourself and when you go to see a professional. And I want to make sure we make that clear that this is not the end all, but this is the first line of defense. So when Doug and I are, feeling anything, whether we feel like a little cold is coming on or we feel an ache or pain, we always go to our plant-based products first and see if we can address it that way. And then, of course, if something becomes chronic, we go and get an acupuncture treatment, a chiropractic adjustment, or go see our naturopathic doctor. So these are the products I thought of that I feel are most valuable for when we are leaning into addressing our pain. From left to right, the first thing is our Deep Blue capsules. Now, a lot of people know about our Deep Blue rub, which is the third product over. But if you know about the rub, I've come to learn that more times than not, people don't know about the capsules. And when I met Doug, I think it's fair for me to call you out on this one. You weren't a frequent ibuprofen taker, but you did take ibuprofen. And no judgment, a lot of people do. It's really, really hard on your liver. And so I was so proud of you that you gave it a go. And now no ibuprofen in our house. This is the go-to for us. Our neighbor upstairs just ran a marathon in like ridiculous fast speed. And I asked her how she was doing, and she's like, I'm in a little pain. So I handed her a half a bottle of Deep Blue. I'm like, here, follow the instructions. So a great example of how we can level up and turn to our plant-based products and try to eliminate some of the unnecessary synthetics and chemicals. Now, next is something that a lot of people don't realize we have. I have it here on my oil shelf, and it's actually Deep Blue oil. It's a really fun way to introduce Deep Blue on another level. Anytime we have something that we love, we being doTERRA, we layer it up. So Deep Blue, On Guard, Serenity, Copaiba, anything like that that we feel like it has a lot of benefits for you. We're going to introduce it into a lot of different ways to enjoy it so you can layer up the usage. So, one of my favorites with the Deep Blue oil, besides diffusing it, is you can make an awesome Epsom salt bath and you can just soak your whole bod and get rid of those aches and pains. Now, the next one is the Deep Blue lotion. I think a lot of people are familiar with this. It's very common to a lotion that you might be familiar with as a kid, but a lot healthier for you. And then from that, they came out with the Deep Blue stick. I think since I've been with doTERRA, because I remember coming home from convention and being so excited about it, because one of the downsides to or really the only downside to the lotion is it gets on your hands. So if you're trying to enjoy it like right before you go to bed and put a little on your neck or your knee, then I always feel like I need to get up and wash my hands because I don't want to rub my eyes in my sleep. And so the Deep Blue stick, Doug and I both have on our nightstands, and it's so handy for just doing a quick application before you go to bed. And if you notice, it's paired with Copaiba. Copaiba is an amazing oil. Copaiba tree is in Brazil. They're 100 feet tall. And what we came to figure out is that when you look at the tree and all the foliage around it, there's no disease. They're disease free. And so we started thinking, wait a minute, we need to process this. This is an amazing oil. It's really great for internal health. But the fun fact about it, and I think it's my favorite fact about it, is that it's an amplifier. So whatever you put with it, it's going to amplify. And so that's why we've paired it with Deep Blue because it's going to amplify the benefits of Deep Blue. Okay, lastly on the right, we have our boy Frank. We love frankincense oil so much, and a drop under your tongue every day is going to reduce your inflammation. And I have a friend who I met through doTERRA. She had juvenile arthritis, and from ages 16 to 32, she tried everything, Eastern, Western, like really exhausted what she thought were her choices. Happened to meet somebody at a barbecue, backyard barbecue, who was also in doTERRA. And that lady said, you have to try our vitamins and frankincense. And after like 5 weeks of doing that, she was off all her medication, pain-free, and now it's been like 8 years. So I can't go on enough about the benefit of good supplements, but also our boy Frank. We love frankincense. It's also amazing for your skin. Okay, I could spend an hour on Frank alone. And then lastly, turmeric. We do have turmeric and oil. I see it up here on my shelf, but I really prefer the turmeric capsules. Excuse me. And the reason why is because we have a patented delivery system. They're in dual chambers capsules. And the reason why we've done this is because it separates the tumoroids with the coumaroids. I'm not sure I'm saying those words right. Dr. Andrews nodding. You can help me if you want. And they found that if those are separate, upon ingestion, when they meet, the synergy is stronger. And there's also something about they've added not just the turmeric itself, but the turmeric oil. And that also amplifies the absorption of coumaroids. I'm pretty sure I'm saying that right. Not my strength, but I know we love it. We just ran out, and Doug was like, don't forget to order turmeric. So these are my go-tos for pain, and I can't wait to hear what Dr. Andrew has to add to all this. But yeah, let's do a couple more slides, and we'll get over to hearing from him. So I tried to pick a product every week. I know I just showed you like 5 or 6, but out of that, I try to star. I think I starred it. Let's see. Let me look back. Yeah, I try to star one thing because if you wanted to do this experientially, I wanted you to be able to just not get flooded and be like, oh my gosh, this is too much to buy all at once financially, but also just learning new habits. So I felt like the Deep Blue stick was our go-to. It's cost effective, it's really user friendly, and it will help to provide maximum strength because of the plant-based menthol. It has moisturizing emollients, and yet it doesn't leave your skin feeling greasy. You don't end up feeling like, oh, I don't want to get dressed or, get into my bed and get this all over. It's magical. I don't know how to explain what they do. It has menthol, wintergreen, peppermint, camphor, eucalyptus, blue tansy, ylang ylang, which is so fun to say, helichrysum, and copaiba. And I know it's copaiba. I used to say cobaiba because at convention we met people from Brazil, and so I learned that from them. But like I said before, it's an amplifier. It's going to work in perfect harmony with Deep Blue, and it's preferable to our old go-tos, which are more synthetic and have side effects because of that. Lastly, I just want to explain about this little disclaimer under the product that says CPTG. All of doTERRA's products are certified pure tested grade. And what that means is we actually run our products through 54 rounds of tests. 11 of them are with a third party. And if you go to source2u.com and like at the bottles themselves, there's a batch number at the bottom of the bottle. And so if you go to that website and put in the batch number, 90% of the time you'll get the rundown. Now there's room for human error. If the farmers don't input the data, we're not able to tell you what it was. But it's really fascinating. On my level, it's just really interesting to see where it came from in the world. We harvest from 40 different countries. It's fun to see like the layman's interpretation of what it's made of and how it's going to help. But we also do a deeper dive for people like Dr. Andrew, who can understand the breakdown. And I mean, you would get so much out of it. I read it and I'm like, I feel like I'm back in school. I don't know what they're saying. But it's really, really interesting. And I appreciate their transparency. And what I appreciate about it is I really try to be smart. Like I try to, if I'm going to take on trying to be healthier, I don't want to spend the time and money of buying products, smelling them, putting them on my skin, ingesting them, only to later learn that I was accidentally ingesting pesticides or it was adulterated with carrier oil because they wanted to make more money, or maybe they swapped out the rose and they used geranium because it has a similar aroma but a very different composition. And so the biggest example I can give to you about that is that we being doTERRA, were able to do a controlled study on 100 humans for 5 years. And at the end of the 5 years of testing doing blood work, testing how it's showing up in their bodies, they deemed lavender pharmaceutical grade, which is amazing to me. And not only was it because it had the same aroma, but way more importantly, it had the same therapeutic grade or therapeutic properties. And so, how do they do that with all the variables of weather and disease that runs through crops and different things like that? How do they stay consistent? Well, what they do is they harvest lavender from 4 different parts of the world. And then when you go to convention in September in Utah, which I've done multiple times, Doug went with me a couple years ago, Kim this last year, you have the opportunity to tour corporate office. And it's so cool because I'm the kind of person where like I want to know, I want to meet the chemist, I want to meet the scientist, I want to know that what I'm saying is legit. And I, had the opportunity to talk to them and learn that that's how they come up with the same end result is they vary their ratio. And that's the extent that I can explain it, but it's amazing to me. And it allows me to just blindly lean in. Well, not blindly because I've done my research, but now I don't have to continue to try to figure it out. So as you can tell, I love doTERRA. All right. So it's important to stay in motion. Doug playing baseball. I love it that you're still in motion. And this actually was a while ago, but I sailed my little Sabot from what was it, Southwestern Yacht Club all the way down to Coronado Yacht Club. It was like a 12-mile sailboat race, and it was so much fun. And I actually got to get a little seasick. I didn't expect to because it was a little boat, but big waves on the bay. But how do we try to address our pain? Well, the best thing that I've always heard is if we stay in motion. Motion is lotion, right? Like if we're starting to hurt, the worst thing we can do is just sit and lean into that because now we're not working out the kinks. So it's really important because if we have pain, sometimes we slow down or we just quit moving. And then acute pain serves as a useful function. I love this expression that my naturopath doctor talks about. She says that our bodies are like little toddlers. And if we're starting to hurt, it's going to whine, and then our bodies are going to cry. And then eventually our bodies are going to have a full-on tantrum. And we don't need to wait for our bodies to have a full-on lay on the floor tantrum. We can listen and use that as a signal. So, we need to either rest or if it's chronic or ongoing, we need to seek care. Okay. Oh, I realize I'm going a little bit over, Dr. Andrew, but know that you have your time because I can squeeze at the end. All right. So reducing pain, some things that we can do. We can use heat to relax the muscles, cold to reduce the inflammation. There's breath and meditation work. There's lifestyle changes of managing our stress. Make sure you get a good night's sleep. We did a really great class on sleep recently. And keep a diary, both of your pain levels, but also when you're having a good day. And then, of course, seek professional help if it persists or it's acute if it becomes intolerable. All right, goody. So now we're going to introduce our guest speaker for today is Dr. Andrew Keating, which we've had the honor of meeting and becoming his patients from our chiropractic office down here in Pacific Beach. He works maybe more than one place, I don't know, but personalized chiropractic for sure. That's the address. This is the link if you want to jump on and grab an appointment. You can also find him on Instagram and Facebook. And Dr. Andrew, take it away.
Thanks, Sherry. Good morning, Doug. Hey, Kim.
Morning.
Very well put. Thank you for all that, Sherry. So as you and Doug know, Kim, so I'm a doctor of traditional Chinese medicine. That's a 5-year program for a master's and doctorate graduate program. And a lot of times in the clinic, we start with pain for people. In traditional medicine, our body, mind, spirit, it's all one thing, it's all connected. And I think a lot of us understand that intuitively, that physical pain will start having an influence on our emotional being, or stress and stuff, of course, manifests as physical pain through sympathetic nervous system. And sorry, what you describe like movement is probably like the simplest way to think of Chinese medicine. Essentially, if you have enough qi and if it's moving well, then you'll be healthy. And then we start to see issues either physically, emotionally, where the energy is kind of blocked. So of course, with pain, that's energy being blocked. And so if we can get that pain moving, if we can move that boulder out of the stream, everything will flow freely, and the body has the ability to naturally heal itself. We're over here in Pacific Beach. I personalize chiropractic and have a lot of cool stuff here to treat acute and chronic pain, chiropractic medicine, all my traditional medicine stuff. We do something called electrooctoscope that I'll describe briefly. That's like a non-invasive way to talk to the cells. This is Nobel Prize winning technology that we use microcurrents to mitigate pain response, et cetera. Cupping therapy, and then as Sherry was describing, like topical and internal medicine, all kinds of stuff. And this is really important. Stuff like doTERRA or having good manufacturers and good companies. There's a lot of stuff out there. And of course, the like non-prescription medical supplements and stuff isn't regulated. So you really want to stick with a manufacturer and a practitioner that has done the research and is getting good stuff. Herbs and all that stuff isn't inherently sterile, of course. So you want to make sure they're growing stuff well. You want to make sure it's being tested independently in ideally US or European facilities. And everything we use here, everything from doTERRA is going to fall under that umbrella. I would recommend not ordering stuff off like Amazon and the internet. It's better to get it directly from the supplier, from a distributor, because then it's not sitting in a warehouse or it's not, there's fake stuff on eBay, there's fake stuff on Amazon. So that isn't, herbs are not inherently safe. Just because something's natural or organic doesn't mean it's inherently safe or the right thing. So definitely good to talk to someone with experience and knowledge and make sure maybe you're doing externally, internally is a good thing for you. So types of pain, right? So pain is categorized into two broad categories, acute and chronic. You know, of course, we treat both. And the ideal kind of concept in traditional medicine is preventative medicine. So we want to get like ahead of things before they manifest into like more chronic pain or chronic disease. It's a lot easier to treat something acutely, like right when it happens, than like, 2 months or 2 years down the road. Are kind of like shorthand for that is for like every year that someone's had something, we want like a month of consistent treatment to try to like unwind all the aspects of that pain response. Um, so overall pain, unpleasant sensation occurs in varying degrees of severity as a consequence of number of processes. So as Sherry was mentioning, we have these like check engine lights that come on in our body. And, we can ignore those. We can cover those up with opiates or something, but, we really want to get to like root issues. Of course, if there's an injury, a car accident or pickleball injury or something, it's kind of obvious. A lot of times chronic pain will show up as like a preponderance of things, emotional holding patterns, digestive issues, emotional, physical trauma that kind of builds up over time. So there's all those levels of that you want to address, not just like the manifestation with it, which is pain. So different types of pain, acute chronic pain, referred pain, phantom pain, somatic pain. This is like when the actual pain receptors are being triggered. Visceral pain, neuropathic pain, myofascial pain. This it varies by age, by gender, like how things will present, by culture, all different levels to it. Um, so chronic pain is usually classified as sometimes people say 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, I would say more than that, but um, something that's kind of lingering and not going away on its own, we definitely want to like pay attention to because the body will adapt and it will start like kind of it does it to help us survive. So it'll kind of turn off some of those check engine lights to keep us upright so we can see some hungry lion coming to get us. It wants to try to like keep us out of that pain, which is great. But then the consequence of that is we're kind of not dealing with like the check engine light. The body's trying to tell us something. So some of the stuff we do, we use the doTERRA stuff in the clinic. Works really well. Highly recommended. The deep blue is great. Those herbs in the deep blue, the turmeric are really classic. The frankincense is like one of the king herbs of the Chinese medicine tradition. So 4,000 years, the frankincense is considered like one of the best for pain relief. Herbs have a synergy too. So in Chinese medicine, we don't just use like every herb like kitchen sink that's good for pain or good for menstrual cramps or good for a headache or insomnia. Like it's not very elegant. You don't just throw everything you have at it. So the kind of unique thing of Chinese medicine is we do herbs in combination in formulas. So some of them will guide say the frankincense to the area of the body that has the pain. Some of it will help kind of balance out the affect of the internal medicine. So say like a circulatory herb that's going to help with circulation. We want to do, those are pretty warming. We just put something in there to kind of cool it down a little bit. We always want the body to be in balance. So the traditional medicine, the traditional Chinese medicine is very elegant in that way. And you don't just want to like take everything that the internet says is good for pain. And you also kind of want to do it as like a process. We want to be clear on like what's doing what. So that's what I recommend um, using supplements and herbs and stuff. So micronutrient therapy, the secrets of the cell. Say goodbye to all your aches and pains and welcome new vitality. Wow. So what? So the secret of how our cells communicate and maintain health and vitality was discovered by two German scientists, earning them a Nobel Prize in 1991. They were able to measure for the first time minute electrical currents that flow across and between cell membranes. They discovered that very small electromagnetic currents open and close cell wall channels to regulate oxygen, minerals, and nutrients needed for cellular metabolism, repair, renewal, and rejuvenation. So this is an example of something we can do non-invasively if people don't want to get an adjustment with a chiropractor or don't like needles because most people don't love the idea of getting poked by needles. Lots of stuff we can do to talk to the body to help it heal itself. I do a lot of work with the Navy SEALs down in Coronado. We're down there weekly, helping them get through training and recover from their missions. So we do doTERRA stuff, we do internal medicine, we do this microcurrent therapy, hyperbaric oxygen, IV therapy. And it's been pretty extraordinary actually to see all the guys that we've treated have made it through Hell Week, have made it through training. And they're young, they don't have chronic pain, but of course they're like going through pretty much the hardest training possible. And pretty amazing to see what works. They're in a limitation. They can't do narcotics. They can't use cannabis products, stuff like that, right? Federal government. So it's been pretty compelling to see how well they respond to like the more natural, quote unquote, medicines. Other things, if you've been to physical therapy or seen us here, this is really nice home therapy, like TENS unit. You can stick these pads on kind of wherever it hurts, treat yourself at home. I really like that because you can do that while you're cooking dinner, watching TV, and If it's acute, usually in a couple days, this helps counteract the nerve pain signal, and you can usually work out some of that like muscle tension. Cupping therapy, really good. This is like a reverse massage. So this helps separate out the muscle tissue fascia, pull out any lactic acid, any stuff that's like stuck in there. I'm sure you guys have seen that at yoga and stuff. Feels good, works really well. Um, Something called battlefield acupuncture. So we have these little acupuncture pellets. I like to use these crystals. These are Swarovski crystals. A little 24 karat gold bead. We also have like little needles, and these are really small, really tiny. And we usually do them in the ear. And this tissue in the ear talks to the nervous system. So we call it battlefield acupuncture. We use this for anesthesia, and that can be really powerful to like tone down the pain response. Um, Epsom soak, I love, highly recommend that to everyone that has access to a bathtub. And that doTERRA stuff I really like. I would definitely recommend that. It's like getting a massage, and it's really nice to nourish the muscles, tendons, ligaments, especially in between treatments. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah, this thing. So this is FDA approved, NASA approved, hypobaric therapy. So hyperbaric, you go in a big tube, and then we push oxygen into your body, and it helps oxygen get to any injuries or your brain or your stomach, anywhere that that needs to be healed, because oxygen will kind of heal that stuff, kill any like bad guys that are there. Hypobaric, so this is reverse pressure. So this is FDA approved for neuropathy, inflammation systemically. And what it's doing is you put your hand in here and it creates some reverse pressure, and it just helps increase circulation throughout your body. This works really well with turmeric, frankincense, that stuff. It'll kind of like it'll just supercharge anything you're doing internally. Um, so those are some of the main things. Infrared therapy is really good. Vibration therapy. I really like self-care because, we get to see people, you know, in this country maybe once a week. People with acute or chronic pain, if we were in China, we do both. We do Western and Eastern medicine, and they would probably treat people every day until they got better. That's a little harder to swing in this country. So we really lean into like some stuff people can do at self-care. So it's like a big wearable, like infrared heat, red light therapy that you can just like wrap around your back. And again, do it while you're doing other stuff just to kind of keep the low back warm and happy. So those are some of the things that we recommend for people to help them like tend to their own garden and heal themselves. What I tend to notice for most of us is it's good to do like maintenance every couple weeks. I say every like other week if there's not any acute or chronic issue, just because we want to like stay ahead of it and not wait until it's things like build up, and then there's like blood on the ground, and now we have to like deal with this big pain issue. So I feel like after 2 weeks, most of us kind of go back into our little holding pattern, and it's good to do a massage or a float tank or go to yoga or do a sound healing just to keep everything kind of smoothed out. So those are my primary recommendations for pain management and some of the ways that we think about that in Chinese medicine.
I have a puppy who's recovering from getting fixed, and she's really
Oh,
fantastic.
okay.
Dr. Andrew, thank you so, so much.
You're welcome.
I learned something about you today,
What's that?
that you treat the Navy SEALs.
Oh yeah.
I think that's amazing. Yeah. And what I want to add is Doug and I both have had treatments from him, and you are a genius. You really are. And you're intuitive and you have so many different skills. And to be treated by you, I'm so sorry. Maybe Doug could call Pearl. Um, Doug, can you call Pearl? Um, Sorry, I'm like incredibly distracted by my dog. But hold on. Let me just see if I can get her to. Doug, are you able to hear me? No. Okay. So sorry. She's like 70 pounds. So for her to start wrestling me is very distracting. Yeah. So no, my experience of being with Dr. Andrew is, you know, you're on this table where there's like a rolling something underneath you, and your legs are in these compression things, and the acupuncture is, I'm not a huge needle person, but it was like you really don't even feel them. They're as thin as a hair. And then the light therapy, and it seems like my hands are in stuff, and like I don't know, it's just a whole ride. And afterwards I feel shifted, not just like, oh, better or rested. I feel shifted. Like it's just, yeah, it's so good. And so, yeah, I'm gonna level up and see if I can't see you more often. Okay, let me uh thank you again for your time. And let me just go through these last few slides a little faster than not. And Doug, I don't know if you can hear me. Can you get the dog?
I see his
Thank,
mouth moving.
yeah, thank you. That was so
Yeah.
informative. I
Kim, I
Yeah,
love
just
Kim,
have a
have
a
you done any
couple.
Chinese medicine? Do you have any questions or
um
Oh yeah.
pain that's ailing you?
I was taking tons of notes. Everything sounds wonderful. And I thought of a lot of people that I would love to introduce you to, you know, and
Yeah,
myself
feel free.
included.
Have them reach out and we'll see like what we can do to support them. I always recommend like you're gonna get something unique from everyone.
Uh-huh.
And as Sherry was mentioning, I do a lot of extra stuff that most acupuncturists don't do, kind of for this reason. Because when you're in pain, it's just such a waste of energy. It affects your emotional, your
Right.
relationships, your digestion, the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I do like trying to like leverage the modern technology with like the traditional wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
So we do stuff kind of unique here. But you feel free to stop by anytime, or not anytime. We should schedule something. But I'd be happy to show you this stuff and any of your friends. If
Yes.
there's anything ailing them, we can. If it's not us, we always like just want to find the what's going to help this person the most.
Right.
If they need an injection, like I'm not going to tell them to do acupuncture. Not that it won't help, but like we want to find the best thing for that person
Right.
and keep that integrity. So you can feel confident that they're in good hands with us.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, yeah, Kim, I recommend getting a session and then first of all, it's gonna help.
Yeah.
And then also too, then you can say firsthand like what your experience was. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Lots
yeah.
of
Any other questions? Are you good?
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. I'm gonna whiz through these last few slides real fast.
Okay. I might have to dip out, but
That's fine. It'll be recorded on YouTube.
okay. And
Nice to meet you, Kim.
nice to meet you. Oh,
Yeah, thanks
checking
for
it out
logging
soon.
on.
Yes.
Um,
Thank you.
every week we're trying to summarize this class into like a habit that you can like literally take home with you and incorporate into your weekly or as needed practice. So I was taught this years ago and I just love it because it's very effective for me and it's visualizing a green orb of light and that orb of light is healing. I'm very visual by nature. I actually worked at a hair salon called Visuals. I love the name. And so you can get yourself into a nice, comfortable position, take 3 slow, deep, intentional breaths. We're not going to take the time to do it right now, but I just kind of want to walk you through it. And once you've done those deep breaths, then you can return into a normal breath. And then now that you're kind of in a more mellow state, unlike my puppy who's at my feet, you can start visualizing a green orb of light. And it was interesting when I found this picture for the slides. This isn't what I usually picture. Now, I don't know what Dr. Andrew has to say about that, but I used to picture like more like a really vibrant, fuzzy tennis ball.
Hmm.
And it had like more like hair to it. And it was more like undefined and very fuzzy and like didn't really have a stop and a start to it. But when I saw this, I thought I'd put it up because it's really pretty too. So I don't know that it matters what your green orb looks like, but I think there's something to be said about the color green in doing this meditation. So once you get into a mellow place, this could be for stress, it could be for pain, it could be for healing. Was originally taught this because I was needing to heal way back decades ago, and I was trying to avoid Western procedures, and it worked. Like I did this over and over and over and over, and all of a sudden the doctors were like, "Oh, you don't need this procedure anymore." And so you're going to visualize that light going into your body, into the area that is of concern. And then I love this part that as you inhale and exhale, the orb is going to expand and contract. And that really gets me into this interactive state with it. And it really keeps me focused on it because I can lose my focus pretty easily. And you're sending healing vibes by doing this. And it will give you a sense of relaxation and letting go. And you can do it as often as you want. So that's my third habit. And then I had said in prior classes that I've taken a course like this and it was good and I got some things out of it. But what was hard for me is we didn't review. We learned something new every week. And by the end of the course, I just felt flooded and I didn't feel like I could, yeah, please help me, Doug. Please, please help me. I didn't feel like I really got as much out of it as maybe I could have if we'd done it differently. So with that said, I decided to just layer up each week. So the first week was on stress, and we talked about adaptives. You can get her a treat maybe here. Okay, talk about feeling stress. Okay, so you can roll on your adaptive. I think I have it here at my station. Yeah, you can get your little roller bottle and you can roll on your adaptive and have that for your stress. We went through box breathing, which I love. It's very visual, and just chill out for a minute. The next week, which was last week, we talked about getting a good night's sleep. So remember to backtrack 2 to 4 hours before you hope to go to bed. And Serenity is going to be your product for that week. Apply it to the bottoms of your feet, and then go back to the video if you want to see the deep dive of it, because we gave a lot of tips about getting a good night's sleep. And then this week, pain. So apply your deep blue to your area of pain, visualize that green orb of healing light, and call Dr. Andrew or get online and book an appointment. All right, so thank you so much. We'll be back again next week. Next week, we're going to talk about boosting our immune system. So I'm excited about that. Right now, I have On Guard going because Doug just got over a cold, and I'm like, I don't want to catch it. So I'm going to be breathing On Guard during this class. The green ones we've already done. You can find them in my YouTube. And the blue ones we're still headed to. And then, yeah, let's connect. There's my phone number for texting. My email is sherry@livewellnaturally.us. That livewellnaturally.us is also my handle for my website, my Facebook, and my Instagram. And if you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. I think I'm up to like 29 followers. So that's how you start, right? Got to start somewhere. So I appreciate Dr. Andrew so much. Thank you for staying to the end. And thank you all of you out there for checking this out. All right. Have a beautiful day.